and its depth is what I'm trying to. On the first of lenses, those are very common in the scripture about. But we know this, so we need to take so that we see rules, and that's one overview. Adept at doing. I take a passage and then read the context of that passage, instead of saying, "Okay, I'm going to do an overview." And using them earlier that said, "Okay, book or study and process really changes." Is halfway over. Normally, you want at the registered time anymore, right? But anyway, it's kind of like that when you picture it from that perspective. And there are, all right. The first in a brought just a few here. All the time, it's actually still at the house. Why it's so thick is not because it makes it a more dangerous weapon when you do. It's because it's got questions about Micah, however you want. A great source of information. So if you don't have a study Bible, I encourage you to get one, because if you carry it with you when your regular study, it's right there, kind of in one volume. Or the one for the New Testament and Zuck Theological Seminary, really expository commentary of the New Testament in one volume, and the Old Testament, of course, is a little bigger, but it's also in one volume. Okay, Walvoord and Zuck. Okay, here we go. This is another option that I have, and the reason I brought these is because I have these that are bigger in the office, but the print is a little Zeiss Bible Dictionary. This is it's gonna fall in line with your theological beliefs. Getting on, you can find them, find what their meanings are from the time that the scripture was written. And you get information. It makes sense. So if you want to find where all the occurrences of a particular word, but you would need a concordance to look at, and then you find all that information, but then you look the words up in specific. So it's 2 volumes about the same size, and they make a good combination. All right? Here's a good thought of this stuff. The pages in your fingers, right? So anyway, that's just an example, okay? So when you go to and then when was it the time when it was written? All right. The environment, they were having some real internal struggles, right? And so he was writing a very corrective book. He was admonishing them for a lot of different reasons. And so that kind of colors the whole perspective on that book. All right. So kind of the occasion, in the introduction, this or you go together in my mind. This particular book of the Bible, right? You're flying over kind of at a height, and you're kind of seeing things from you do that, right? If you're going to say you're going to study a New Testament epistle, the next thing you would read the letter at least, okay? The big picture, but plus if it said as a letter, you read the letter. Your picture that you've just studied or the focus. Speed reader like Ron, chances are I need to do is just a passage you're going. A good average speed reader, okay? So, try to read in one, if you're doing a large book like Genesis or something, try to read a chunk that covers a particular. I promise you, as you read an entire book with this in mind, you go through the introduction, then you read. I tried it today and during the planning period that I was at school. It helps then for you to find words are important. Anytime it's something that's really important, E's and ands, substance words. All right. Here's where I kind of trying to formulate an sense, but in the book, there should be. Then you okay. Also, identify to learn this, to write a paper backwards. Seminary courses and stuff. It gives you more of a target further in school. That would notice that's not give you a direction. So let's use this as our and see if do you have
the capital city of the Roman province. Soon after, later on, he about the city to encourage and reassure in the church and all like that to the working quietly.
That's a real good example. The book and the church of the question. Put them in based on other books that we know that Paul wrote. I tend to believe that Paul penned the letter, and he added Silvanus and Silas is another united front. Okay, Paul actually. Well, it kind of all three the backdrop part of Bags, okay, about this, okay. For this in particular, you see one called Troas call. And so comes into the picture. Oh. Yeah. Of the first 50 to go to Mass says, so we inserts himself. All right, 3 through 36 about that story. The first 10 verses of Acts, obviously Timothy. All right, Paul accustomed to do in the read his intro, the time that he was writing. Okay, Thessalonians and verse 5. Set. Why would have been accustomed to learn? Okay, so he sends whom? Timothy, right? And he's good. Okay, the Paul Timothy has there, and what is that question? So then the second guy was if somebody died, or is it like the question? Does that ending that was the question? Okay, it's because 5. As this, think about it. What is Paul answering? Is Paul answering concerning specifically happens to loved ones? Makes it clear that, but I think it needs to be remembered that hey, Paul's answering that specific help us because delineated that way when it was written. Praises them for their faithfulness and for their will and for their being strong in the faith. Their question. All right, now exactly. What else do you notice about this case? He makes of Paul when in writing, right? And expressing that voice. Although he does, but I've always viewed it from that lens. Always talking about the rapture, and it was just doctrinally. This is my people that were genuine. Okay, and Egg's words, right? So that's the tone that he's writing. Is it wrong? For me, I've always viewed it from that perspective. Again, that lens that we have as a, but I think it's a pretty book. Important, yeah.
They'll all believe. So that's what, and wait your time.
Okay, all right. To encourage one another. That's what that scripture is about. Backdrop to our loved ones when they said. Okay, and so after, because the commentary, or if you have notes, and these are margin notes, right? So it can tell you, and it tells you where to look, and you find out where these things are occurring, and it helps you to understand it all. And go back and review somewhere else. Thessalonians about their faithfulness reminds them with specific biggest question that they have. Okay, if you wanted to break it down into 3 points about these resources that I mentioned. For any believer, this is a good study Bible. By Nelson published Bible You See Me Carry. Bible that Debbie, it's been on every international. It's got a open Bible. It also has been thicker a little bit. I think it's that, but have it in the New King James. Awesome. But this one is good too, but it's much more in depth. Okay, all right, but it's a must-have, right? Timothy inside maps, and you can say Paul's second mission is identified when and where he left from. Okay, that's a great little tool right there. All right.
Before you get it, so always look at
direction and the thinking of whoever is the one that's penning it. That's why it's good to read just the historical, define outline for yourself, so that then when you go to a place by, well, I need to close this.